everybody's so wrapped up in the technology, speeds and feeds and whatever. It's not about that. It's about producing better content and enabling people that are not broadcast trained to produce broadcast quality content, because that's what keeps your audience enthralled.
I have a young man just going into high school who really is interested in broadcast and film and art and that kind of stuff, and he came to me, a couple of months ago and said, "Father, how do I get trained up on this? I've seen it online and I want to get involved." I said, "You're in. Come on down." We gave him a few training sessions and he loves it. He's eating it up.
Hey folks, Brian Blackmore with Church Production Magazine and Dave.video. Churches, especially small to medium-sized churches, often struggle to achieve the video production values that they want. They often struggle with limited staffing, smaller budgets, and a general lack of expertise. Well, one church that has found a solution is Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Rapid City, South Dakota. And the church recently acquired a BPswitch FX video production system from Broadcast Pix. So here to discuss the situation is Father Brian Christensen from the church.
Hey, good to be with you today.
Thank you. All right, and Nicholas Dunn is from KT Connections. KT Connections was the integrator on the project. They're also based in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Hello.
And last of all, Graham Sharp is CEO of Broadcast Pix.
I would just like to start by a big thank you to Father Brian and Nick for joining us to discuss what they're up to. Very much appreciated by the Broadcast Pix family here in Boston.
Father, could you tell us a little bit more about the video productions that you produce there at the Cathedral and how you use the Broadcast Pix system?
Yeah, no, the system that we have from Broadcast Pix has been instrumental in us being able to reach out to our church members, parishioners, and also we've discovered others far and wide who are looking for an experience of the church when they're not able to be physically there at the church. We use it for our regular Sunday services, our masses. We broadcast to our local community, but again, because of the wide reach of the internet, many people have joined us across the country and even around the world now for those Sunday services. Now, we broadcast every single day our daily masses from our chapel here in Rapid City. And then it's been also very instrumental in allowing families to join together for occasions like weddings and funerals, where they can't make those arrangements to be here in Rapid City, but they can be part of the celebration, part of the event, part of the liturgy with their family and friends through the internet and Broadcast Pix and the capabilities that we now have here at the church. So it's been really a game changer for us and for our parish family.
So, Graham, could you tell us a little bit more about the Broadcast Pix system that the church acquired?
Prior to COVID, we at Broadcast Pix were evaluating our strategy, and we've been producing sort of all-in-one production tools since the early 2000s. And way back even before COVID, we saw that there was this massive explosion in the use of video content, particularly what I would call the lower end of the pyramid. I draw the market as a sort of pyramid. At the very high end, you've got the Super Bowl and Major League Baseball and whatever, all doing their fantastic productions. But the explosion in the market was very much in people just trying to communicate with audiences, whether it be parishioners in the case of churches or town halls, the case of their people in their regions. This massive explosion in the use of video. So we started evaluating or looking at our own tools, going, well, actually, we've got a great tool set, but very much aimed at professionals. So we started trying to think about how we could produce user interfaces and get volunteers more used to using kind of professional tools. And I never would use the word dumbed down, because that's not what we're doing here. The tool set is exactly the same. What we're trying to do is make that tool set that one day is being used by a professional producing news for a local station, make that same tool set available for a volunteer who shows up to work in a church production environment. So the tool set, just the same. It was all about trying to figure out how we could make that tool set easy to use and accessible to what we started terming non-broadcast trained operators, people that have not been trained by a broadcast organization. And so from that strategy spun out several products and packs and different sort of product families specifically aimed at volunteer-run organizations to make the tools available to enable those guys to produce professional-looking content, just like they were a broadcast TV station or something like that. So the strategy started pre-COVID. When COVID hit, it sort of accelerated that strategy, and we found ourselves producing we sort of split the product line. We had an a la carte product line where you could build what you want, and then we had an appliance product line where you could create, or we created specific appliances for markets. What we then did also was make those appliance, we call them packs, so like the church pack, available to the a la carte product line. So if you went, so the whole point of the appliance product line was everything came in a box. It was very focused on a market, and we created a thing called ChurchPix. However, you could quite easily outgrow that if you wanted more cameras and this, that, and the other. And then we'd move you to the a la carte product line, which is what these guys did. They built, if you like, the solution, but then we could apply the church pack with templates and content that makes it easy to produce church content. One final thing, we then throw into the mix a few hours with our application guys, where I think you guys work with Tony, where you go away and he helps you produce the look and the feel, get your graphics sorted. So we're very much focused on the end content and less the technology. We try and make the technology as easy to use, as transparent as possible, but focus on helping our clients, our customers, make better content as an output.
Nick, tell us a little bit about the design of the system and how it was installed in a special building like our Lady of Perpetual Help.
Sure. Well, as far as design, I actually reached out to Broadcast Pix. I'd worked with them in the past before, and worked with Rhett to get the right solution picked out. We definitely wanted it to be a professional level system versus just a consumer product. So. And then they got us connected up with Stream Dudes to get the product and everything. But the design went really smooth with the help between Stream Dudes and Broadcast Pix both. It was pretty easy. The product seemed straightforward at that point. Installation is definitely a challenge. We have a lot of hard surfaces and very complicated areas to get through without causing aesthetic damage. So imported marble and trying to mount to that and get cabling, to the locations that the camera is going to be located so that the cable is not exposed and, obvious. So definitely a challenge. I'd worked in the building before doing the audio system, so I was pretty familiar with the pathways and stuff. So we had a lot of the stuff in place and kind of had planned for it several years back when we were doing other cabling, getting network cable and stuff run in the different locations. So it worked out really well.
Describe to our viewers the workflow that the church is using and how that how your design affected that, or how the design affected the workflow.
I guess getting it located in a position that they could use it without being out in the open and stuff. We were able to use where the audio cabinet was located. We were next to that, and that's where all the cabling and stuff ran. As far as the workflow, a lot of that was done through the training. They were able to get, figure out how they wanted to use the system. And, I guess in the design, we looked at, what are the different angles we need. You need a rear camera to look up front for like weddings and funerals and stuff like that. A camera that's up closer, that's kind of more of a front view, so you see kind of what the audience is seeing. And then we also have one that's located way in the back that we actually ended up replacing out with one with a higher zoom because the distance was so long. But the different angles allows them to switch between different cameras depending on what we're trying to look at during a mass or a wedding or a funeral or whatever. So,
Father Brian, tell us how is the system staffed? Like describe the operators and what their function is during a mass.
Yeah, we have now about 7, 8 volunteers that have gone through some basic training on the Broadcast Pix program, and they have a general understanding of how to whether record or live stream, how to use the system as it is. We have 3 cameras, as Nick noted, and moving from setting up those shots and the zooms and the framing of the shots. They're all learning kind of that flow of doing that and making it really engaging for our viewers as well. So, but yeah, we schedule them out for Sunday services or for our liturgical celebrations for a funeral if a family wants either that to be recorded and or live streamed. It's very popular with our weddings over the last year that those would be recorded or live streamed as well, considering some of the limitations that travel is still presenting to many people. And also, they're finding that when they have the video of 3 cameras and they can use all of that raw video to put together their wedding video, that they're pretty excited about that. That's all built in, and they don't have the distractions of somebody wandering around in the sanctuary or in the church disrupting the services. That these are all hard mounted and have excellent angles and locations for really a wonderful production. But it's all volunteer. I have a bunch of high school kids, a couple college kids, a couple young adults that just really love this stuff and are excited about it and just want to jump right in and get to know it. I have a young man just going into high school who really is interested in broadcast and film and art and that kind of stuff. And he came to me, a couple of months ago and said, "Father, how do I get trained up on this? I've seen it online and I want to get involved." I said, "You're in. Come on down." We gave him a few training sessions, and he loves it. He's eating it up because he really sees a future for himself in this, and this is an easy way for him to experiment and trial and error to learn his skills. So it's been good. It's been very good on many levels.
Well, Graham, back to you. Tell us more about the Broadcast Pix system and how it was designed specifically for churches and what makes it in your mind a great choice for churches.
So yeah, I guess initially we weren't really thinking specifically for churches. We were thinking this difference between a broadcast trained person and a volunteer. So we were really thinking about general sort of volunteers. I could wax lyrically for hours about how I feel that the broadcast production tools have not really evolved in the same way that a lot of other tools have evolved. I've been involved in video switches for 30 years, and the user interface really didn't evolve that much. Meanwhile, as Father Ryan just said, kids are coming up, they're doing things on their phone, they're used to a lot of a different sort of user interface. And so I think that was the first step. We said, right, let's try and get a really easy to use user interface, automate as many of the sort of repetitive tasks as possible. So instead of having to set up shots every time, we can automate things. We can save, camera angles and shots and zooms, and we can transition between them. So try and automate as much as possible, and then do so in a way that, if you like, the next generation user is used to thinking, instead of a big panel and lots of different stuff, touchscreen interfaces. So we've done all kinds of different work to try and make things easy to use. I think the church angle came when we started, as we started selling more of the product into specific markets like churches. We started saying, well, actually, churches pretty much within reason do a similar thing. They want various types of content. They want types of graphics where they're going to put up, whoever's speaking. They want shots of things like stained glass windows so you can transition behind. So then we started creating packs of content specifically for markets, and I think that's really where we got into focusing on the church market. We created a what we called a church pack initially. It became ChurchPix. So now the product you have would be called ChurchPix. You bought it just before we made that transition. But we started producing content because again, as we made the products easy to use and they started getting used far and wide, I jokingly say the A to Z, the aquarium to zoos of users use our product. And it literally is true. We have aquariums using it and we have zoos using it and everyone in between. The ease of use part is really important, but then it becomes, okay, well, now I'm a church and I want my content to look really professional. How can I do that? So we started producing templates and graphics templates and adding content that was suitable for the specific application. And that's why I'd say, you know, we are now, and we've learned a lot from these installs, other installs around the country. We've learned a lot of what churches are trying to do, and we've tailored our packs, now ChurchPix, specifically for those markets. The idea being you can take it out of the box, plug it in. When it powers up with a user interface that is suitable for a church. It powers up with templates already preloaded. They may not be perfect, but they're a great starting point for the volunteer operator to say, oh, I like this template, let me just modify it a little bit. And so, you know, that's really the approach we've taken. We've learned a lot in the last year, and we're constantly trying to keep applying it to make the products better and better, focused and easier to use, with one eye really constantly on the end goal, which is to enable our customers to produce more compelling content.
Right. I love what you said earlier, Graham, about your goal was to make the technology more accessible, but in a way that allows the end user to focus more on the content, the end result, rather than technology that they're that they got their hands on.
Exactly. It's a total focus on, and it for me it was a penny dropped about 1.5 years ago. It was like, okay, it's not about, everybody's so wrapped up in the technology, speeds and feeds and whatever. It's not about that. It's about producing better content and enabling people that are not broadcast trained to produce broadcast quality content, because that's what keeps your audience enthralled, making compelling content. And that's been the focus for the last 1.5 years within Broadcast Pix.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Father Brian Christensen from Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Rapid City, South Dakota. Nicholas Dunn with KT Connections. Graham Sharp, CEO of Broadcast Pix. Thank you guys for your time. I hope we can do it again sometime.